Started as dating for modern romantics, but their curiosity to understand people and find new ways to connect them made the Hello Iris team pivot to guided meditation. We have the co-founders Niloo and Nina with us today. Thanks for joining in, guys.
Oh, thank
Hey,
you for having us.
thanks for having us.
So just to start off with, could you please tell us what is Hello Iris and how are you helping people lead a more meaningful and connected life?
Yeah, so Hello Iris is a platform that provides guided meditations based on your personality. And so what we do is we help you understand your inner driving forces so that you can make better decisions confidently and with clarity. So that you're not just operating on autopilot without thinking about
Right,
things too much and just reacting, but you actually get to make
right,
conscious decisions that are aligned with what's important to you. And so
interesting.
that's kind of the value that we offer, and that's where we are right now, and that's where we've come from dating, as you put it.
Yeah. That dating app to the guided meditations pivot was really interesting. I think you might need guided meditation after you have been through a dating app. So
Yeah,
when
after
was
a lot
that?
of bad dates, you just kind of need
Yeah.
to go to a and not talk to anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So when was that moment, when you guys sort of realized that, we have to pivot?
Yeah, so we were in Techstars with our dating platform and with this AI matchmaker that works over text. And one of the pieces of feedback that we kept getting during the mentor madness that we went through, which was like talking to 80 different people in all kinds of fields, generally in more senior established positions. Um, and we go in being like, we really want to help people have better relationships. We want to help people find love in a really
Right.
meaningful way. We want them
Yeah.
to see each other and connect with each other. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, but like through a dating app, are you sure that's kind of are you sure that's what people are there for, or are they maybe there for other things?
Right.
And so that was one part of it. And then the other part too was just like from a purely business perspective.
Okay.
If what we wanted to do was help people connect, but in order to do that, you have to build up, a certain amount of people that you can match. They have to be different genders. They have to be in the same city. There has to be growth that's fast enough to keep having new people to match with.
Right.
Um, and that's obviously a really hard and challenging thing to do. And the pushback that we kept getting was like, if you can't get to that point where you have a big enough customer base, you're not going to
Right.
be able to prove out the thing that you actually want to test. But
Right.
you're not going to be able to say like, oh, well, we tried and we failed and people just don't want meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, we tried and failed and couldn't get more than 1,000 people in Toronto and we couldn't match them more
Mhm.
than once. And okay, I guess we're stuck here. And so I
Mhm.
think those two things kind of came together to make us realize like maybe the dating platform isn't the best way to approach the problem that we're trying to solve. And maybe there's
Yeah.
actually a deeper layer that we can kind of go towards.
I think, yeah, just to add
Awesome.
to that too,
Mhm.
one of the things that I think was one of my challenges since we even started the app, like my kind of reason for starting the dating app was because I just felt like part of the challenge with online dating is that people kind of don't get to see at all who the other person is,
Right.
and they don't have a way to show themselves, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you're kind of making choices again super blindly based on like what just somebody looks like or just like random factors, and so you're just living your life blind and you're just doing things again and again without actually moving towards anything.
Yeah.
And so that was really again still the driving force of what we're doing now. And
Yeah.
I kind of realized as I went through, or as we both went through, creating the app, getting users, getting people on
Yeah.
the platform, getting customers, things like that, is that we realized the platform of online dating, or like when people come on to online dating, or when we tell them, hey, we have an AI matchmaker that matches you with someone who's compatible with you,
Right.
the belief there is that this magic algorithm is going to find my soulmate.
Mm.
And that underlying belief about what love is again is
Yeah.
problematic, right? Because if you haven't
Yeah.
done that work on yourself, if you don't understand what it takes to be in a healthy relationship, then
Mhm.
you can bring the most amazing person in front of you, and it's not going to just magically solve all your problems, right? So I think that
Yeah.
was it too, where at least
Mhm.
from more of a product standpoint, I felt like this thing isn't actually going to solve people's problems in the way that we want. So what
Right.
will? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming to meditation, like I honestly got to know about guided meditation through you guys. Like I knew
Hmm.
about meditation before, but I didn't know about
Mhm.
guided meditation. So like, is it like just a subset of meditation, or is it like an entirely different thing?
So I would say like meditation falls under the general mindfulness kind of category. And I think guided meditation is just like rather than leaving you to your own devices, where especially if you're newer, you might not know like, oh, I have a thought. Do I pay attention to it? Do I kind of drift off with it? Do I try and crush it? Do I try and not have it at all? And I think unguided meditation can be a bit more challenging or just like a different experience where if you don't know quite
Yeah.
what to expect or how to handle it,
Hmm.
it can bring you more into your head. And
Okay.
so there's a lot of different, even within the guided meditation space, there's a lot of
Hmm.
different permutations of that, where it
Okay.
might be like, oh, it's guided because somebody will sound a bell at the beginning. And then every like 3 minutes, they'll be like, oh, focus on your breath. And then at the end, there's another bell.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's guided because it's like, I'm going to guide you through this entire thing of how to pay attention to your body and how to pay attention to your breath and what to visualize, et cetera, et cetera. And then
Okay.
ours are, I would say, like a third version of that, where it's much more,
Hmm.
yes, there's a bit of guiding you around your breath and this awareness and mindfulness, but it's also about, I'm going to share an idea with you that's going to be kind of woven into this entire meditation. And so you're
Got
not
it.
just sitting there kind of checked out or removed from your experience, but it's like, oh, I'm kind of letting these thoughts subconsciously go into my experience as well.
Interesting.
I think
Okay.
what was really
Okay.
interesting,
Yep.
also, I guess what brought us to this idea of meditation was I became familiar with the concept of guided meditations through Headspace.
Okay.
And I felt that they did, you know, they would kind of have this person talk to you, and it's sort of because
Yep.
I'd tried to meditate before, and it felt like exactly kind of like what Nina said, like you're sitting, but you don't know what you're expecting, and you don't know if
Yeah.
you're you don't feel like you're moving towards anything really.
Right.
So with the Headspace guided meditations, it was like, okay, well, we're going to have a series on managing your stress. So let's
Hmm.
go, and then it would be like, okay, well, notice it when you're angry. What does anger feel like? How does it come up in your life? And these kinds of things. And
Hmm.
I think what was interesting there was kind of listening to those, I realized with the kind of technology that we have, we
Hmm.
could take that a lot further because we could actually understand different people's inner patterns. So instead of just
Yeah.
sitting there and being like, oh, like notice when you're angry, notice when you're stressed, we could actually tell you, hey, this is what anger feels like to notice when this
Yeah.
feeling comes up,
Yeah.
or notice when these thoughts come up, what triggers
Yeah.
them, like pay attention to these situations. So it's almost
Yeah.
like if you look at kind of unguided meditations as something
Hmm.
that I would think in terms of time just takes a lot longer to
Right.
make progress in. Like you have to be more advanced to kind of use it and like whatever. And then
Hmm.
the kind of headspace meditations are sort of the middle ground there where there's some guidance, but then there's still a lot of work that you have to do and realize on your own.
Hmm.
I feel like our
Hmm.
meditations bring you closer to the point where you can get to that point of insight a lot faster. And then now you're
Yeah.
spending time working through your own feelings rather
Got it.
than um, just taking a lot of time just to get to those feelings. Yeah.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. And so just continuing that, you have like a library of profiles and an algorithm that classifies everyone into those profiles. I think plants, animals, and minerals. It's that, right? So, like, how did you guys make that connection between human beings and these other species? Like, is there a science behind that,
Yes.
or
Yeah. So I'm not going to take any credit for that work.
for sure?
That was not our creativity.
Okay.
So Hello Iris is based on a holistic framework called the sensation method.
Okay.
And the sensation method basically believes that all the different parts of you, from the things that you say, feel, dream, even your physical pain, literally every single part of you is a manifestation of a single kind of pattern or experience. So like what we kind of use that for is we'll basically be able to look at the words that you use when you fill out our personality test. And through those words, we'll be able to pull out the pattern,
Okay.
your internal pattern, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that internal pattern is mapped to a particular sensation profile that comes with its own sensitivities, with its own responses to stress and conflict. And that profile in their system is mapped to a particular element in nature, whether that's a mineral, animal, plant, because it has some connections, like some, which we've kind of tried to bring out in the meditations as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And we've just basically taken that and transposed it into something that we can give to more people. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And is this like a work in progress that you have to keep, you have to keep building new profiles, or like you're done with it for now and it's just like you have to bring in people and assign them to?
So we still have a few more profiles to create. I would say we have about like more than half done, but there's about maybe a quarter left that I'm still working on building. And I think it's a little bit challenging just because it's like the work, it's like I have to learn what those profiles are, because there's over 250, right? So there's like it's a lot of variation, and it gets very specific into people's experiences. So it's like, one, getting to a point where you understand that experience well enough yourself, then being able to write about that in a way, because a lot of the documents or things that I'm looking into are more kind of like academic focused. So it's not like I can just kind of take them and kind of share them with people. You have to kind of translate them into, okay, how can I make this into something that's just like a regular person reading this in 2 paragraphs can kind of get the gist of it. So it's a lot of that. And it takes some time, but I think we've gotten to a pretty good rhythm with it. I think after our many pivots, we've learned kind of what people want to see. So yeah.
Interesting. That's awesome. Okay. And what are you guys like working towards? Suppose we speak again in 6 to 8 months. Like, where would you guys want?
We'll be back to the dating app. That's where we're going to be.
I won't be surprised.
Crop insurance at that point, using our crops.
Awesome. Like, do you want it to become something similar to apps like Headspace or Calm, or like are you working towards something entirely different?
So Niloo, please.
You go ahead. I think,
I was just going to say, where we see ourselves in 6 to 8 months, so probably like early next year, is to have an app. And at that point, it'll still probably be like a very basic way to access your meditations, where you can take the test, where you can get all this personalized content. And you can have a more structured way to kind of approach, like, I get my notifications. I do this every day at 7 a.m. or whatever it is, 8 p.m., whatever you prefer. You can explore different themes. So like, based on my personality, what is the relationship segment of meditations like? And it's fully tailored to me. It's tailored to my experience, the things that I care about. And so that's where we really want to be in about half a year from now, is to have that app up and to start getting more and more people onto it.
Okay. And so right now, if someone wants to, do these guided meditations, so I think once they have to fill up the profile and you send them the guided meditation, and or also they can follow you on Instagram. So that's how they can do it.
Yes. Hello, Iris.
Okay. Perfect.
And our Instagram is basically just I guess HubSpot for like general content that we create. So just self-development. Nina does some meditations. I do some kind of talks exploring a different part of your experience, things like that. So giving you food for thought and ways to think about these questions, I guess, outside of just meditations.
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, so what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys are facing right now? So at Epic, we are also trying to connect you with the community. Like if you have certain challenges that people out there are ready to help you with, we would love to make that connection. So are there any challenges like that?
I can go first here. Just on the technical side, I'm just starting to think about automating our algorithm. So right now it's just very human assisted. So I'm very bottlenecked with like feeling like whatever, responding to profiles and like getting meditations out. So on that side, there's that. And then on the app building side, also needing to find somebody who's going to help build this app. So technical people who know about AI and or React Native and want to chat, I would love to talk to them and just pick their brain. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else, Nina, that you would like to add?
I would just say it's just a very general, like if this is a space that you're interested in, and if self-development is something that you're curious about, we really love when people take our test and give us feedback on what that experience was like for them.
Mhm.
Just as we're moving towards a more like solidified app experience, just to nail down like, are there any last changes we need to make? What do people really like? What can we bring more of? So from that side as well.